Good evening to you. Scotland are Nations League action this evening. Their latest challenge away to the Netherlands, and all the action is coming up right here for you. Two former Scotland internationals with us for this one, Jen Beattie and Leanne Crichton. Jen, what are you expecting from this one? How big a test will the Netherlands be for Scotland, do you think, tonight?
It's a huge test, and it notoriously has been. I think Scotland have always prided ourselves on performances against big teams, and that's something they've been doing really well. They have been performing very well, but tonight I think for this Scotland team it's about turning that into points. They've got 1 point on the board and they need more going into these next few games. Yeah, they certainly do need more. They need to get something from tonight, do they, Leanne, do you think?
I think so, yeah, ideally, although a different looking Scotland team tonight and so many injuries, which no doubt has unsettled the group, albeit I think there's a lot of cohesion there. They'll have their sights firmly set on, at minimum, a point. But as Jen mentioned, the Netherlands are a top opposition. They've been notoriously difficult. They don't lose many games. So I think if you go there tonight and get a draw and bring that point home for Tuesday, it would be a good positive result.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the team news in a minute, but first of all, let's take a look at the group standings in the Nations League Group A1. We can see Belgium there leading the way on 4 points. The Netherlands, England are just a point behind on 3, and as we talked about there, Scotland picking up that 1 point. And not just Scotland in action this evening, England also in action too. They're at home against Belgium, and we will of course keep you right up to date as to what's happening with that one. Time to hear from the Scotland camp now, shall we? Let's hear from the Scotland head coach. Pedro Martina Losa has been talking to Amy Canavan.
How have preparations been for this Dutch doubleheader so far?
Very good. I think it's more of the same every camp, but very good energy, players very excited, and staff to join in together when we come back. We have a very good group of staff and players working together, and we feel good when we are meeting up back. Then every day is more energy and more energy in the preparation. We feel prepared going through the details. It takes a little of time to just link everything every camp. On today, we're just a team. We have seen players in training very good level, giving everything, and now is the time to think and prepare the game well.
The rumour mill has been trundling. Has Erin Cuthbert travelled here today?
No, she has not travelled. Yeah, she will be available potentially for Tuesday, but that's part of a conversation and agreement that we made with her club and with the 3 parties with the player. So we are giving her time to make sure she's ready for Tuesday. Hopefully she's good.
Well, Jen, Leanne talked about the injuries. They don't have the problems to seek, especially in that midfield area. No Erin Cuthbert, no Caroline Weir, of course, no Emma Watson, Sam Kerr as well. How do you prepare for a massive match like this when you know you're missing, a massive part of your team?
Yeah, I think, even yourself just listing the names off, there's a lot of big names in there, and you don't want to be missing your big names going into games like this. And especially in international football, that there's such a short window for preparation going into games. But I'm not sure. I was hugely impressed with McLean coming off the bench against Belgium, and I think I always look at it as an opportunity for herself and Rodgers coming into this game and competing against some of the best midfielders in the world. You've got Van de Donk, Jackie Groenen in that Netherlands side, and top players. So for me, it's a huge opportunity for them, and I've no doubt they'll make a good impression. Yeah,
Rodgers and McLean, the 2 changes that are made in midfield, probably no surprise really, because certainly Kirsty McLean has had a great season for Rangers so far, hasn't she?
She's been brilliant. She's been outstanding, and she's had to bide her time to get into the national team. I think she could have had a call up a while ago. But that's the way football works, and at times you need to wait. The sad thing is that a player loses out in Caroline Weir and Emma Watson, Sam Kerr as well, as you mentioned, Erin Cuthbert. So now is her opportunity to go and shine. As Jen said, she came on against Belgium. She did really well, which could have been a nervy evening for her, but she embraced it. Amy Rodgers has come into the fold as well. She's got a couple of caps now. She's been at many camps, so she'll be growing in confidence amongst the group. So for them, it's a huge opportunity, and that's the way the players will look at it. We can be a bit nervous on the outside looking in because, of course, you would love to have your strongest and fittest squad available, but they don't have that tonight, so it's up to other players now to step up.
We were all at Hampden, weren't we, last month watching the Belgium game, which it was dramatic right at the end, wasn't it? But of course, let's just remind ourselves that it was, of course, Belgium that took the lead in that one. And Leanne, defensive frailties that again costing Scotland dear, do you think?
It was a sucker punch, certainly at the point in the game that it came, this goal. Scotland had been very good in the first half, and we spoke about it at half-time. We thought Scotland could kick on and look to get the opening goal. it wasn't to be. And of course it's disappointing when you concede a goal from that second phase of a set piece. It was hugely frustrating, but the reality is that Scotland had to find a response, and the bit I liked about them was right until the very last second in the game they pushed for that response. It's a brilliant assist from Lee Gibson. I'm sure
It wasn't bad, was it?
And look, we said that night how important this point would be, and when you look back, Jen, come the end of the group, hopefully it's a point gained as opposed to 2 points dropped that night.
Yeah, it was really important that Scotland got a point on the board, wasn't it? Because that table would have looked very, very different if they were cut adrift a little bit already.
Completely. And look, I don't necessarily think a 1-1 really reflected the performance of that game. I think Scotland definitely deserved to get more out of it. And of course they would have wanted to score from open play. That's the style of football that Pedro's been trying to implement in the game, and to get it from a long ball launched into the box. But that's a centre-half dream, to go up and score in the dying minutes of the game and get your team some points on the board. But yeah, they'll be hopefully looking for a point or more tonight.
Yeah, let's have a look at some of the key players that we could see in action this evening. We've already briefly spoken about Kirsty McLean, but let's get your take on that, Jen. She has had a brilliant season from a Rangers point of view. There she is warming up this evening out there in the Netherlands. This is her 4th cap, 11 appearances for Rangers this season, 3 goals, 8 assists. It's not bad stats, is it?
Yeah, no, unbelievable stats from such a young age. I think that's the most important bit. She's 18, and for me it's the composure and the maturity that she shows when she gets on the ball, picking up the ball in the middle of the box. To show the composure, just to put that in the bottom end of the corner, for an 18-year-old, I think you can back me up for a midfielder's perspective, just shows it from a young age. That's what Scotland needs. So I think that's why Pedro's had the confidence to start her in tonight's match, because she's shown that week in, week out for Rangers. And you never want to see it from a loss of injuries from a Scotland perspective, but she's got her opportunity tonight. And even against Belgium, I've said it already, I thought she massively impressed in such a short space of time. Showed so much confidence, always showing angles for centre-backs to get passes off them and trying to involve herself in play. And again, at a young age, showing that at an international level, I think already is massive.
Yeah, and I think our graphic actually showed that she made her debut in 2016. Would be some going for an 18-year-old, wouldn't it? She's done really well. 2023 she made her debut, but as Jen said there, she scores some high-pressure goals, and that winner against Celtic, I mean, Pedro would have been watching that and like what he's seen from such a young age, that composure, that calmness, and he needs that in a team.
Of course, and especially with the players that he's lost, he's looking for players to come in now and step up, and she's one of those players that's going to do that. I think she'll play tonight, and I'd be surprised if you don't see her the majority of the time now that Scotland take to the pitch, because she's been so good. I know, speaking to Rachel Corsey, she spoke really well of her as well. We spoke to her on the podcast last week, and even in training, she, like Jen's saying, she takes it in tight areas. She's so brave in the ball, and you need that, especially when you play against these top sides. Scotland might be without possession tonight for huge spells in the game, but at the point you win it back, you need composure, you need confidence, and you need somebody that can pick passes, and Kirsty McLean can do that. She can score, she can assist. She's a top player.
Just very briefly, Viv Miedema is a player you know very, very well. Obviously, you both play at Arsenal. She's on the bench. Would you expect her to see her this evening? She's a key player, but obviously she's been out for 11 months through injury. It came on for a couple of minutes, didn't she, for Arsenal last weekend? But it would be a big ask, wouldn't it?
Yeah, look, I've no doubt everyone wants to see her. We were all more than happy to get her back in an Arsenal shirt, and I'm sure the Dutch players will be thinking the exact same. But we all know the step up from club to country and the intensity of the difference of that, and from a football perspective, is massive. So I think it's amazing she's there. I think it's been brilliant for her well-being alone to just be back involved with the team and back in with her Dutch friends in that respect. But will we see her tonight? I'm not sure, but I know she wants to get off the bench. So
yeah, I'm sure she does. 115 appearances, only the 95 goals so far. It'll be a huge boost, won't it, just briefly, to have her there?
It will not be brilliant. Listen, for the Dutch, it's a huge incentive. She's a top player, she's a star player for them, but I would like her to remain on the bench tonight, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, you're probably right. Well, as you can see, the teams are out of the tunnel. Let's cross over to our commentary team. The action to come, first of all, the national anthems as talked through by Julie Fleeting and Thomas Duncan.
Thanks, Jane. Good evening, everyone. And there are
that was good.
Fewer greater tests in women's international football right now than going away to the Netherlands. They simply do not lose many games. It was a shock to everyone when they lost their opening game in this group to Belgium. They completely dominated that game, but somehow managed to lose 2-1. But they don't have too many nights like that, and that's a challenge for this Scotland team, a depleted Scotland team shorn of key players in that midfield area. And it's how they can respond as they try to get their first win of this Nations League campaign. As we await in Nijmegen the national anthems of both sides, starting with Flower of Scotland. Some good supporters over supporting Scotland, good travelling fans, but they'll be grossly outnumbered, and that only adds to the challenge facing Scotland this evening against this star-studded Dutch side, who of course recovered from that opening defeat by Belgium to defeat World Cup finalists England. And it's a side packed with experience, European Championship winners, World Cup finalists like Sherida Spitza. She'll earn her 224th cap with Groningen and Van de Donk, also over 100 caps. PSG's Lieke Martens will be looking to add to her 62 international goals. The Dutch all-time leading scorer Vivianne Miedema is back on the bench after 10 months out with an ACL injury. Might we see her at some point? There are threats right across this Dutch side. Well, the match officials, Ivana Proskowska of Macedonia, experienced referee, took charge of PSG's win over Manchester United recently in Champions League qualifying. Well, here's the Scotland side then. Pedro Martinez-Loos opts for consistency other than 2 enforced changes from the team that drew with Belgium. Caroline Weir and Sam Kerr are out through injury. So it's a big, big night for 18-year-old Kirsty McLean on just her 4th cap, as well as Amy Rogers, who wins cap number 3. Lisa Evans could hit 100 appearances. If she comes off the bench, she would be the 16th Scottish woman to achieve that feat. Well, the Scotland players gather together for some final words of motivation and encouragement. It's a huge, huge test for them this evening, particularly shorn of the likes of Weir, Cuthbert, Kerr, who brings so much quality as well as experience. There is Sherida Spitza for 200 caps, leading the Dutch side again this evening. And Julie Fleeting is alongside me. Put into context just what a difficult night this is for Scotland if they're to try and get their first win of the Nations League.
Yeah, to go to the Netherlands in search of that first victory is a really difficult fixture to try and collect all 3 points. We need 3 points certainly over the course of the double header against the Netherlands. They come to Hampden on Tuesday night. We need to get something from this game. We need to get a win out of one of the games and possibly a draw for me, but it is a huge ask, especially considering the players, the big names that we have missing tonight.
Absolutely. Dutch will look to control possession and get on the ball. And this is the start of the journey to Euro 2025, remember. Scotland aiming to stay in League A, which would make their path to those Euros that bit easier. They'd be guaranteed a playoff place. It's that kind of thing that's on the line as the action gets underway. The Netherlands immediately looking to put the Scottish backline under some pressure. There's Berenstain out to the right hand side. Scotland will need to be so sharp defensively. And here is who's adaptable, can play centre back or centre midfield, and here comes Roord, squares it across, Berenstain nudges it away, and Claire Emsley was back doing her defensive duties. Joe Roord, the Manchester City attacking midfielder, a glimpse of the threat they can offer immediately inside the first minute. Here's Brooks, Barcelona player, has to slip it down the left. McLaughlin gets back, read it well. Netherlands keen to get on with things. Good foot in. Scotland already under pressure. Van Domselaar, the goalkeeper, Aston Villa. Here's Brooks again. Got pace to burn down that left-hand side. Charges infield. McLean goes across, goes down the space. Here's Dijkstra. Roord. Probing stuff from the Dutch. Ball in, and that was threatening, but too deep in the end for Martens. You can see, Julie, already Dutch playing at a good tempo.
They are, yeah. They're trying to make sure that they move the ball quickly. Scotland are sitting with their banks. They've got Grimshaw just sitting, protecting the back four. Midfield remaining organised, disciplined. That'll be really important tonight. And at the moment, Scotland are trying to limit the spaces that the Dutch have, and trying to stretch the game and go long there, try something different.
Yeah, quarter-finalists at the World Cup in the summer. The Netherlands lost in extra time to the eventual champions Spain. Quarter-finals of the Euros the year before. Euro winners in 2017, World Cup finalists in 2019. A lot of the players were part of those sides still in this team. There's Kasperai. Scotland just trying to keep their shape, close down the gaps. Here spits out, drives forward. It's brilliantly intercepted though by Grimshaw, and a counter opportunity now for Scotland. Emsley's made a run. Grimshaw lays it off to McLaughlin. Grimshaw tries to regather there. That's exactly, Julie, what Scotland will look to do, is just try and pinch the ball when they can and set off on the break. It broke down though on that occasion.
Yeah, Grimshaw reads the game really well. Was unlucky there, but yeah, she reads it very well. She wins the ball back. What's going to be as important is that we're brave when we have the ball. We manage to commit enough bodies forward where she's got support, and she's done the right thing for me in that she didn't have anyone in front of her. She keeps the ball, she allows the players to move up, and we just hope that we're going to have enough in attack.
Yeah, it was a big blow as well. We thought Erin Cuthbert, she was in the squad, she thought she was going to be fit, but picked up an injury playing for Chelsea at the weekend. A wee niggle. It was agreed she'd sit this one out, potentially can play on Tuesday. McLaughlin hacks it clear. Here's this almost Opportunity for Martha Thomas to pinch possession. Corsie calls for Gibson to collect, and she does. 51st cap tonight for Lee Gibson. Assist for the equaliser against Belgium a month ago. It's good initial play from Kirsty Hansen, such a live wire. Been in terrific form recently. Berenstein goes up. Howard wins the header. There's Andries Jonker, the Dutch manager, going all Balotelli with a bib. Brooks plays it forward, and she's got lots of tricks. Walker threat down that left hand side. There's Gronin across the Dijkstra. Forward now for Roord. The touchline, but Kirsty Hansen. Good work rate from the winger. Here come the Netherlands again, and Claire Emsley, was maybe rather fortunate, let it hit off her, but it was a comfortable one in the end.
Yeah, this gives us a chance now to try and build up. You can see the Netherlands are going for a high press. Don't want to take any chances there, don't want to give away any easy opportunities.
Gibson goes long. Header. Hansen has to go after that. Rossi's header. Roord. Doherty was almost found Emsley, but for the brilliant interception there. Here's some space for Brooks. Dancing up the left, step over. Cross comes in. Hacked away. And McLaughlin sends it out again. Warning signs for Scotland here. Plains back, puts the foot in, that's good. Aggressive play, and Doherty gets across. Good recovery from Scotland there, Julie.
It is, and I'm happy with that defending. I'm happy with Scotland allowing the Dutch to play round them, play on the outside, but the minute they play any penetrating passes, we have to make sure that we're aggressive without committing and causing any fouls. I think at the moment we're defending our box well, we're allowing them to play on the outside without actually cutting us open, and it's good from Scotland so far in terms of a defensive unit that we have. I would like to see us just be a little bit more composed when we win the ball back.
Yeah, that's going to be the key. Trying to string a few passes together and put the Dutch under some pressure. We're going to press here, but great composure. Dijkstra, the centre half, not afraid to venture further up. Berenstein, poor touch. Doherty has to work the space, charge down, take the goal kick.
Good support and play from Nicola Doherty. She closes down her own player, but the minute the ball goes past her, she's switched on and she's in to help and support her team. We're going to need a lot of that this evening. We'll need a lot of teamwork, we'll need a lot of doubling up on players. It's very, very early in the game, but good signs so far defensively.
Yeah, well, Julie, it has been a solid defensive start from Scotland. The England game, the campaign opener here, was the first time they'd conceded more than once since they lost to Iceland in February, so it's an area of the game that's been strong for Scotland over the last 8 months or so. The problem has been at times sticking the ball in the net up the other end.
Yeah, I think though, as long as you keep a clean sheet, as long as you don't allow other teams to score, then you give yourself a chance. And Martha Thomas, you've got a player who's very good in and around the box. She's great from cross ball. She sometimes manages to get herself that yard or two, but it has just been finding the back of the net. It's been creating enough opportunities, but you would take it in a clean sheet and then let's see what we can do.
Rachel Crossy goes back, opts to stick it out for the throw in rather than perhaps put Lee Gibson under pressure with a pass back. The Dutch go quickly. Brooks with the cross, closed down by McLaughlin. Glimpse of Ismay Brooks' skill there, teasing the defender. There's Berenstein with a bit of space to flick it on. Didn't come off, but not picked up in the penalty area. Hansen tries to come away with it. Here's Martins, wonderful player, Paris Saint-Germain. Grimshaw forces her back out though. Here come the touch, it's stabbed in. It's Danielle van de Donk who gives the Netherlands the lead. And we've just been praising Scotland's defending, but that one they won't want to see back. In at the front post, helped on, miscommunication. And in a flash, it's the Netherlands who lead.
It's the first time they've been able to get beyond us, use their pace, just get to the byline, and then that creates a bit of a problem for Scotland. You can see here she does really well just to go between the Scotland players, a bit easy for me, and they do get the break of the ball off Rachel McLaughlin, and it's a good finish in the end. But from a Scotland point of view, allowing her to get into the box as easy as that, it's not good enough, but a great finish in the end.
Yeah, it's fantastic reactions from Van de Donk, her 36th international goal. And it's a sickener for Scotland. So early in the game, they'd have hoped to have kept things tight and build confidence and maybe frustrate, but that perhaps puts a bit of pressure on for them to come out, although it is still very early. Martha Thomas wins the corner.
I think sometimes it just reminds Scotland that they're then going to need to attack, that when we win the ball back, we need to try and get forward, we need to try and create opportunities, and already it's more positive.
Can Scotland make the most of their first real 40 forwards? Corner comes in, it's to the near post, cleared only as far as McLean, who shows good aggression but just loses out. And now here comes Janssen, picks out Berenstein. Danger now for Scotland, Rhodes onto it, and that's great goalkeeping from Gibson. Sprinted off her line to claim that one.
You can see they're extremely dangerous on the counter-attack, and in those transition moments, Lee Gibson, absolutely fantastic, off her line, so quick to come out and collect the ball and just take the pressure off the defence.
Renate Janssen got the winner against England in stoppage time in the last game for the Dutch. It was a wonderful finish as well. From a kind of similar break, smashed it in from the edge of the box, top corner. Denied that time by Gibson's speed.
The pace and the power that they've got though in those moments of transition is just incredible. It's one of the main attributes that they have, and it's something that Scotland do need to. Yes, we want them to attack and we want to commit bodies forward, get numbers into the box, but we also have to be aware and be clever that on the counter-attack they're extremely dangerous.
Well controlled by McLaughlin. Can Scotland string some passes together and just try and keep the ball for a spell? Grimshaw will chase this, she gets there. Needs an option in the middle, Hansen hooks the run.
She didn't have many people to pick out there. Hansen was her only option.
Here's McLean. Always shows for the ball. McLaughlin up to support the attack. Ward collects. And the Ducks will just calmly play their way out with this one. Bruce with a switch of play. Dijkstra, good pressure from Hansen, but it's calm stuff from Spitzer.
Just using her experience there. She knows what to do. She's going to stay calm and composed.
A wonderful player. There's Bruce again. Fails to control at that time. Another wonderfully talented, only 20-year-old, signed for Barcelona. Scored a couple at the World Cup. Here's the goal that is unlucky, but it's great reactions from Van de Donk.
It is. She's so dangerous just in and around that penalty box. She reacts the quickest. She gets her toe onto it. Doesn't have to do an awful lot. It's a good finish, but she just gets her toe on it. Beats Lee Alexander to the ball.
Here's Hansen, a chance to stretch the legs. Chips it forwards. And Emsley skipping through, and the keeper spilled it. Emsley slips at the crucial moment. Oh dear. Oh, that was a chance. Claire Emsley just could not keep her balance at the crucial moment.
I don't think she's expecting it. I think she thinks the goalkeeper's got it comfortably, and then it's just out with her reach. That was a big chance.
A little sign of encouragement from Scotland though. They've not had too many in the opening, nearly 18 minutes.
And a sign also when you put pressure on them that they will make mistakes.
Hansen
They're a
again.
great side, but they're human. They will make mistakes.
Yeah, and they'll take chances playing out from the back, that's for sure. Here they come. Goal scorer Van de Donk. Grimshaw with the block. Andrea Jonker, former assistant to Louis van Gaal at Bayern and Barcelona, vastly experienced coach and manager, managed Wolfsburg, and inside in the German Bundesliga as well. Leading this Dutch side, coming in after the Euros last summer.
Chance to see this one again. Goalkeeper looks like she's comfortably got it, and it's just out with Claire Emsley's reach. Goalkeeper really should do better.
Yeah, well, it was a goalkeeping error. Cost them badly in the end in the defeat by Belgium. It wasn't Van Domselaar who was in goals, it was Jacinta Weimar, but shows you've got to be switched on at all times. Berenstein, strong tackle from Howard, who's become a mainstay of Scotland's defence.
She certainly has. When we've needed someone to step into that role, she's done so. she hasn't let her country down. She scored that all-important goal as well against Belgium.
That's wonderful from Emsley. Great feet. Crosses in. Hansen's at the back post. The Dutch do their defending. And Lord Camley takes it away, and that is just wonderful. Calm as you like. Here's Lord again. This time Docherty gets in there, but she's another extremely talented player. 95th cap at just 26 years old. Now at Man City. Great poise and footwork. Dijkstra under pressure here from Hansen. And they've forced the corner, Scotland. And Kirsty Hansen at the moment is leading the charge.
She has a bit of pressure on them. Then they will make mistakes, as I said before, conceding a corner when probably was in her favour, just to roll it to her defender, or even out for a throw-in would have been better than a corner, but just shows we need to press. So there are mistakes in this team.
Scotland's second corner. Brooks header. Howard gets something on that, but Ronan intercepts, touches away from Howard, and Scotland's back into position.
The delivery of the corner's absolutely fantastic. For me, they're lacking someone going and attacking the ball. It's a great delivery into a really, really dangerous area. I don't know where the players are. The run's all wrong. Is that not where they're expecting the ball to come? But for me, that's a great corner. We need to make more of those situations.
Martha Thomas shoved over there by Kirsten Kaspereit.
She didn't look happy.
No, she didn't. Martha Thomas, WSL top scorer so far this season. 6 goals already in England's top flight. She's got a hat-trick the weekend for Spurs after their deadline day move from Manchester United. Scored a hat-trick against Van Domselaar, who's in the Dutch goal this evening. Here's Emsley again. It's broken in the box, comes back to McLaughlin. Brooks with a fantastic sliding block. Howard uses her body well, and then Brooks looked to lean into that with the arm, but play on, says the referee. Emsley again, wonderful feet, then the nutmeg. Was she checked there? Again, the referee unmoved. Pedro Martinez-Luz has been used at that one.
I think she's looking for it. I do. It's wonderful feet, great feet here. And then a wee nutmeg. She's looking for it because the ball's going away from her. But already we're starting to play with a lot more belief about our side. Before there was a lot of defending in the start of the game, but now we're stringing passes together. We've got players taking players on. I'm starting to believe that in an attacking sense we can really do something in this game.
Again goes to close down. Ward pursued closely by Thomas and Rogers. Dutch so effective at getting out their own half, and here's Brooks, turns the afterburners on. She's going to go into the box. Can she pick out a pass? Corsi's there. The captain intervenes for Scotland. And Grimshaw in the shot pool.
It's just a bit of frustration there. I mean, here, her pace is absolutely electric. And she's not happy with going to the byline. She drives in towards the goal. Well cut out in the end.
Well, she's one to watch, Brooks, over the next decade or so, playing for the European champions. level. And a chance now for the Netherlands to put one in. Scotland get ahead on it, comes back in from Kasparai. There's Dijkstra. Looks for Brooks, who's initially kept it in, but behind for a goal kick.
Changing the style of run there, just coming across. It's a dangerous ball, just in that channel.
You can catch a view from the terrace later on tonight, 10:30, right here, BBC Scotland. And tomorrow, highlights on Sports Scene of all the men's Scottish Premiership action, 7:30, BBC Scotland. Hemsley lucky to gather that one in. Grunin. Brooks with a cross. Corsie positioned well. It'll fall for Lord. Good block from Rodgers. And McLean. She's brilliant to watch. She's good composure in tight spaces. Grim shot.
For someone so young, I've been hugely impressed by her this season. She's just grown in maturity with every club game she plays, and now in the international setup she looks like a player who's going to be there to stay. It'll be difficult to shift her from that starting 11, even when the big names do come back.
I wonder if she's maybe Julie kind of player that could allow Caroline Weir and Erin Cuthbert to maybe push further forward than they maybe have been in more recent times.
She's very versatile in that central midfield role. She can play in the deeper position, or she can play more as a 10 further up, an 8. She's just one of these players. She's still learning, but already she looks like she's going to be really important for club and country.
Good tackle from Howard. Corsie looking for an option. Rodgers steps in, puts it round the corner. Howard looks for Thomas. Dijkstra always looking for that left-hand side. There's Berenstain. Brooks picks up again. Good block from McLean. Laughlin's in there as well. Turns. Scotland just looking to get.
I mean, again, so composed for such a young player. Just playing in that central role against some of the best players in the world.
Hansen again putting in a good shift down the left-hand side. Well, it's no wonder they call her Iniesta, isn't it? High praise, but she's...
I mean, that's a lot of pressure, but...
yeah, but she's so composed. Looks chilly. And a chance now for Scotland. They have been decent since going behind, you'd have to say.
We'll be hoping for another good delivery from Claire Hemsley.
The referee's happy now. Gone short. Klein gives it back to Hemsley. Gets it to the byline, stands it up to the back post. It's over. Grimshaw. Again, that's into a good area from a Scotland point of view. No one able to get anything on it.
I think Rachel Corsie was closest. She just misses out. I mean, they do defend their box very well. They're a big team. They're aggressive. But we also have players who are capable of scoring from an aerial position. That's how Sophie Howard got her goal against Belgium.
Yeah, and it was how Belgium got their goals as well. Despite barely having a kick of the ball, they got 2. And it was from crosses into the box. One of them was a delivery right on top of the goalkeeper. It's good pressure from Thomas. She's intercepted. Martha Thomas needs support now. Trying to hold off the marker. Didn't have anyone up with her. Scotland turn it over again. Here's Hansen. Goes for the strike with the left foot. Great effort. Van Domselaar tips it over.
It's a brilliant effort. I wasn't sure if she was too far out, but she connects with it really well. Goalkeeper gets a strong hand. She just turns inside onto that left foot. And as you see, this has been our best spell. It's taken us to go that goal behind to get a lift and a bit of belief about us. We just need to hit the back of the net while we've got this intensity.
Another corner, another chance. Can Scotland make more of this one? Ainsley's delivery. She's right on top of the goalkeeper, but it was a comfortable height. And young Daphne Van Domselaar collects.
As you see, it is a comfortable height. If you put it in with a bit of height without the pace on it, then it favours the goalkeeper.
Talented young goalkeeper, just 23 years old. Signed for Villa in the summer. Starred at the Euros in 2022 after coming in after first choice got injured, and she's first choice ever since. And here come the Netherlands again. Back to Roord on the edge of the box. Howard gets something on it. Here's Brooks! Lethal! Esme Brooks doubles the Netherlands leads, and it's just so clinical. Scotland have been bright. They've played at a good tempo. They've put some pressure on, but they just go up the other end and stick the ball in the back of the net. 2-0.
Yeah, we don't deserve that. Just far too much time. It's a poor clearance from Sophie Howard in the end to allow it just to drop. And she makes absolutely no mistake. We don't deserve it, as I say. We've been the better team for the last 5-10 minutes or so. Created a few opportunities. And it just shows you, if you make mistakes in your own box, then quality teams will punish you.
And now the Dutch have their tails up. Here's Rhodes, Van der Donk. Runs it to Rhodes. Netherlands will fancy putting this to bed before half-time. Scotland just playing themselves into bother here. Here's Martins. Over the bar. You don't want to give a player like that a chance at the edge of the box, Julie.
No, you don't. You don't. There's so many quality players on our side that ball in and around the box. We need to be tight. We need to not give them the opportunity, the space to get a shot off or a cross off, because they can hurt us, and they have already.
McLean. This time she's just got herself into a bit of trouble. Bredenstein buys the foul. Scotland need to try and not let that goal affect them too much. They were playing reasonably well, but with the Dutch visiting Hampden on Tuesday as well, you want to at least get to that game with some confidence, and you're back at home as well. Spitzer sends it in. Howard clears. It's not convincing from Hansen, but Scotland will get away with it, and then there's a potential injury here for the Dutch. Van de Donk, who opened to scoring, taking a sore one on the head. So, big clash.
She looks okay. I think she'll be able to continue. But we've lost our way in that central midfield role, I've felt in the last few minutes. I think we're giving the ball away far too often. And here's that first goal where she just nips in front of Lee Gibson. And the second one, Sophie Howard needs to get more on the clearance.
There's Daniela Van de Donk. He's going to come back on. Another one of the Netherlands Centurions. Here's Rhodes. Scotland backpedaling again. Cross comes in. Rogers clears. Here's Emsley trying to keep hold of the ball, but blocked. A pass for Thomas. McLaughlin. Dutch again intercept. Brooks. Martins weaving her way away from the byline. And the Donk gives it back. Chance here. Scotland just survive. Here's Spitzer lining one up. Well, that would have been special. Good save, Lee Gibson.
It's a wonderful strike. The pace, the power on it. She just gets her head over it. And Lee Gibson doing what we need her to do in those moments. She gets a strong hand.
Looks like it might have taken a wee working its way through that one as well. Scotland 2-0 down in Nijmegen. And under pressure here before the break. Corner in. Scotland living dangerously. You can see Christy Grimshaw breathing heavily.
Yeah, it's a shift in that central midfield role. As you say, it does take a slight nick. Makes it even more difficult, makes it a better save than we originally thought from Lee Gibson.
Scotland trying to play their way out here. McLean comes across, she's got nowhere to go really. It's a throw in.
It's all you want in those tight areas, just get something positive for Scotland.
Here's Doherty. Hansen under pressure. Scotland's chasing shadows slightly, and here's Berenstain, who's come across to collect that. Corsi's been pulled wide. In comes Berenstain. And the shot skews off the outside of the left boot. Absolutely. Berenstain, another vastly experienced player. She's got 4 goals in 4 games for Juventus this season as well. Scotland just, as you mentioned a few moments ago, Julie, they're just not getting control of the ball in midfield. They need to make sure they at least get to half-time with no further damage. But here's Bruce, who continues to rampage down the left. She comes in field, it's still Bruce! Well, that would have been a wonderful goal had that found the bottom corner.
It would. Every time she picks the ball up, you're fearful of what she's going to do. I love the way she just drives right in. Instead of staying out wide with the ball, she cuts in, she's driving towards the goal. She's just unable to curl that one into the bottom corner. And relief from Lee Gibson.
Well, the Dutch have won 13 of the 18 games these countries have played. Scotland's last win, 2015, Cyprus Cup, Kim Little's hat-trick. A 3-1 win. Could do with a Kim Little in midfield just now, that's for sure.
Could do with a Kim Little at the back, in the midfield and up front.
And goals. The Dutch so far have shown their class without being scintillating throughout. Scotland's with a lot of work to do. The first job is to get to half-time. Can they nick one back?
I agree, and going forward, they're extremely dangerous. They're very strong in midfield, but I think there's chances in this back line. I think we need to keep pressing. We need to try and continue to get forward because I think we'll get more opportunities. We want Claire Emsley on the ball. We want our taking players on. We want Kirsty Hansen on the left-hand side, using her pace and her power. We haven't seen a great deal of that so far in this first half, but these players are capable.
Well, Sophie Howard's gone up for this one as Rachel Corsie prepares to fling this up there, or not. She goes short to McLaughlin, wide to Emsley, who's got Brooks at her back, and that's gone out for a throw-in.
You put her under pressure there. I think if you've committed Sophie Howard forward, we need to get a delivery. So if it's going from Rachel Corsie out wide to Rachel McLaughlin, it must then go.
The Netherlands will, of course, have designs on winning the Nations League and to get themselves into top position in the group to progress to the semi-finals. And of course, after recovering from the opening defeat, and here they come looking to add more goals. Fields, Rogers, an interception. Grimshaw looks in some discomfort for Scotland. That's a concern, and here's Bruce, who's giving McLaughlin a torrid time. Ball in, it's just over Berenstain. And Scotland just struggling to play out. That's a strong challenge. Rogers perhaps caught on the follow through there.
You can see it's Kirsty Hansen, she's still limping. She was brave in the challenge.
Martins gets the benefit of the use of the ball there. She'll try and make the most of it. Underhit pass. Hansen, McLean, McLaughlin. Scotland totally hemmed in though, and Corsie has no option but to get rid of it. And Thomas has got the free kick. Another clash of heads perhaps. Yeah.
It's a sore one. And here this is just the Kirsty Hansen challenge. She goes in with a bit of pace. There's been a few in the last, I think that's all within the last 2 minutes.
Damp surface helping those sliding challenges.
I think the players will be desperate to get to half-time and regroup. Listen to what their coach has got to say to try and aid them in the second half.
Yeah, you feel they've got to go for it, but it can be a double-edged sword. The quality the Dutch have got, the pace they've got. We've already seen it with Brooks, Martins, Edenstein, Roord as well. Flicked on to Edenstein, but Howards did well to block the path to the ball. And that should be that when Lee Gibson gets rid of this ball. Half-time whistle imminent. Work not done for Scotland yet though. Under pressure, and that's a short back pass. No, it was sufficient to reach Lee Gibson. Howard, Rogers, and there is the half-time whistle. Well, it's been a sobering first 45 minutes in Nijmegen for Scotland. 2-0 down. Daniela van de Donk with the opening goal in 12 minutes, nipping in after a deflection at the near post to steer it beyond Gibson. It capped a bright start from the Dutch, and they were able to double their lead despite some good play from Scotland in between. Claire Emsley with a couple of nice runs, but Esme Brooks drilled in after Howard's weak clearance, and it means at half-time in Nijmegen it's the Netherlands 2, Scotland 0.
Well, the Dutch got off to a flying start. Danielle van de Donk with the goal early on. Scotland reacted well enough, but the Netherlands were lethal in the box, and they made it 2-0 thanks to that women there, Bronx. Well, yeah, 2-0, and as Thomas said there, some positive to take, but in the end, a real sobering kind of first half from a Scotland point of view. How do you reflect on it, Leanne?
Probably similar to that, positives that you can look at in certain moments, but just not enough over the course of the 45 minutes. When you're up against a top side, they will punish you. They're ruthless inside the box. They've got so many good attacking players. We know that. We've identified them at the start of the game, and Scotland have been punished for that. And it just comes from certain moments, just probably a bit lackadaisical and switching off at key moments. You're never safe. You're never safe against top teams. And even when you feel like you've got good numbers behind the ball, which Scotland have had in certain moments, they're so good. So you need to double up. You need to do more, and they were punished. Yeah,
they certainly were. They've just got so much pace and so much quality, and that was very evident there, wasn't it, Jen?
Yeah, 100%. I think Scotland were struggling to get pressure higher up the pitch and look a little bit, you know, indecisive in certain areas, and Netherlands have taken advantage of that. They've picked the ball up in dangerous areas, and they've looked really threatening in the final thirds. I definitely think that'll be a talking point for Scotland at half-time.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be plenty said in that dressing room. Let's take a look at the first goal, Danielle van de Donk. It's fair to say that the ball in should have been dealt with better, shouldn't it, Leanne?
It should have been, yeah, and it comes from good play, I need to say, from the Netherlands. You mentioned that pace, and they've got that in abundance, middle to front. But again, Scotland have got numbers in and around the ball, but they just don't affect the ball, and it's just, as I say, switching off for a split second. Van de Donk manages to get the run across. Casper Eye does really well in terms of the ball. She looks to put across Rachel McLaughlin. It's a last-ditch tackle. She doesn't get enough contact on it. Lee Gibson's looking to try and anticipate. Van de Donk's clinical. She's a top player. She's anticipating. she does what any good attacking player does. She looks to get that final touch across the front post as well, and she just gets enough on it to take it beyond Lee Gibson. And that was 11 and a half minutes into the game. Now, you could have said at that point Scotland had shaped up well defensively, they looked switched on, but it's so early in the game, and to give away that type of opportunity for them is criminal at that stage of the game.
What should Sophie Howard, when that ball was coming in, have done differently there, do you think, Jen?
It's a tough one because Van de Donk's so clever. She leaves her movement so late, and I think as a centre back, her positioning's actually pretty good. She's at her front post, which is the area she wants to be at. Lee Gibson as well, but Van de Donk's movement is so late that she's coming off her blind side, which is what makes it so difficult. Could the communication have been better from the opposite centre back? Who knows? I think they'll only know that. But for me, it's just having to anticipate that a number 9 or a midfielder is going to leave that movement late and try and check your shoulder and try and anticipate that a bit better.
The goal did come early, as you say, but in fairness to Scotland, they reacted pretty well. The response was pretty positive, wasn't it? They were getting forward, creating half chances.
Yeah, it almost felt like it took for them to go behind for them to then have a bit of belief and think we need to come out and play, because I know when you play against top side, you can perhaps think if you stay in the game for as long as you possibly can, you might be able to nick something. When you go behind as early as that, you've got to come out and play. So Scotland took the shackles off a little bit. They were more aggressive. Jen and I have spoke at that throughout the half. You're looking for Scotland to be more aggressive, I think, in the press. And Julie's touched on it in commentary as well. The Dutch are a good side, but they're actually not that good back to middle. They're much more effective middle to front. So that's where Scotland have got to be more in the front foot. Can you get more blue jerseys in the opposition half? Can you use the pace that they've got? And Claire Emsley, she's really unlucky here. She anticipates it well. The goalkeeper almost is an absolute gift. But there is moments, Jen, that we've discussed that they can do better.
Absolutely. I think when Scotland are pressing higher up the pitch, just as Leanne just said, they've shown errors. You know, they're giving away corners, goalkeeper spill as we saw earlier. And they're the moments that, again, Scotland need to be talking about, that if we can take the game to the Netherlands in this second half, they'll get opportunities. They've had a couple of shots. Kirsty Hansen had a brilliant one off when the press was higher, and those are the moments where you just need to take the game
Even
forward.
look at here, you've got Sophie Howard in the opposition half. That's as aggressive as you want Scotland to be. Claire Emsley, the type of player she is, she's so tricky. She's actually looked so effective in the opening half in certain moments, deliveries into the box. That's what Scotland need to thrive on, and that belief. And when they do that and you get repetition with that, the belief will come, the opportunities will come. As Jen said, there's been a couple.
Yeah, but unfortunately, despite the fact that they were creating those chances, the Netherlands, as we've seen, the quality shone through, their pace again came to the fore, and before you know it, Scotland are 2-0 down.
Yeah, the disappointing one for me is that it came from a build-up. You know, it was a good passage of play. Don't get me wrong, but Scotland are just always that 2-3 yards off the press. Whether it's the midfield, Nick Doherty struggling to get pressure on the ball, and look, as a centre back, you have to clear the ball in those areas. You can't give scrappy balls, and it's a great finish into the bottom corner, but you have to clear your lines and stop the ball coming into the box. This one, you have to clear it. And it's a great finish, don't get me wrong, but it's a whole pattern of play that could have been stopped from various points in the build-up to that one.
Yeah, and when the ball does eventually come to the player that scores, she's all alone. She's got plenty of space.
It's not. It's a good finish, but it's a gift as well. You know, and when Sophie Howard sees that back, she'll be disappointed, because the thing is, what good teams do to you, and when you're up against top players, is they panic you. And that's where at times you need to be ice cool. Sophie Howard's panicked there. It's come into an area, a danger area, where she thought, I just need to get something on it. And she's actually just put it straight into the path. And by that point, Rachel McLaughlin can't affect the ball. And for Holland, it's a gift, you know, because as much as they're a good side and they've caused some problems, Scotland have had really positive moments in the game. And when you get in at 1-0 at half-time, you're probably thinking, great, we can get ourselves back in this. You get in at 2-0 and the wind's taking out your sails.
One of the positives, I think you mentioned it, Kirsty Hansen, it was some strike, wasn't it? That was before the second goal went in from a Dutch point of view. If this goes in, it could be a different game we're talking about.
Yeah, look, Kirsty Hansen, I think she's been Scotland's one of the best players in the last few performances, and when you're striking it with your weaker foot from that distance out, that's telling me she's full of confidence, which, look, is amazing to see. She's got goals in her locker. She puts that Netherlands back four under threat, and what a strike. On a different day that might have gone in, but really big positive for Scotland in that sense.
Yeah, a big positive, and that's certainly, I guess, something that they will be trying to latch onto in the dressing room, but something else they'll be trying to latch onto, and we've seen it, how to stop the quality. And again, we talk about the pace from a Dutch point of view, because at times they were threatening a lot, weren't they?
They were, and that comes again from Scotland and their structure out of possession as well, which kind of plays into their hands, and that's what Jen and I are saying. Can you be more aggressive? Can you be a bit more switched on and believe? But when you look at the pace and the quality that they've got and how direct they are, they're a good side in the way they move the ball, the Dutch, but they know where they want to get. They want to get from A to B as quickly as they possibly can, and they've got players that can do that. Lee Gibson does really well. She's aggressive, she's on the front foot, and that's what you want from your goalkeeper. There's no doubt they will breach the Scottish defence tonight, and they'll do it again in this second half. But as we've said and as we've shown in the analysis, is that when you've got players behind the ball, you just need to do that a little bit better, recognising the pace that you're up against, picking up good area from Rachel Corsie as well to defend across the six. but they're brilliant, you know, and there's a good understanding what you've got on this Dutch side as well. They've been together, Jen, a fair amount of time. They've played in big moments together. They've come off the back of the World Cup in the summer. They know each other, so they've got that consistency. Probably something that Scotland don't have, particularly tonight with the key players that are missing.
Yeah, and they've got plenty of experience, haven't they, the Dutch players? What's the chat in the dressing room right now, do you think, Jen, especially from a defensive point of view?
Yeah, I mean, that's something Leanne and I have spoken about a lot during the game as well. For me, it's the press. I think we'd speak about Scotland being more aggressive and putting the back line under more threat and being more aggressive in their final third, because, yes, they are incredibly clinical in our own box, but make them make mistakes higher up the pitch, and I think that'll definitely be. We've spoken about releasing that fullback. Can the centre-backs release the fullbacks earlier to get pressure on those wing-backs to stop them gaining more momentum higher up the pitch?
Well, the second half to come here on BBC Scotland. Let's hear from Celtic's Amy Gallagher, I should say. She's had a brilliant season so far this season, hasn't she? Obviously, that's caught the eye of the national boss. She made her debut against Belgium. Well, we see her in the second half against the Netherlands.
Talk us through that debut last camp, your first call-up as well. Give us the emotions, talk us through it all.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surreal experience, to be honest. I was just grateful to be in the camp, but to get my debut was amazing. My mum and dad were there, my boyfriend's mum, stepdad, so it was just a great feeling, yeah.
What has that step up been like to international level in that last camp?
Yeah, it's been difficult, I think, obviously getting used to the training and stuff. My first camp, it's a higher standard, a higher tempo, but I think I'm getting used to it and I'm just looking to keep learning and developing.
It'll be a tough camp this time around as well, Dutch double header. How have preparations been so far?
Yeah, they've been good. Obviously carrying on from last camp, we had 2 good performances, but just looking to turn that into results.
What are you expecting from the Netherlands on Friday night?
Obviously a tough side, a really good side that have competed at the highest level, but we're just looking for another top performance, but mainly to get the 3 points and get a good start in the group again.
What does Pedro say when you're coming up against opposition that obviously are top international players, but you know that there's top performers at their clubs at the highest level in Europe?
Yeah, I think he just says, he gives us a lot of a belief, I think, and the squad has a lot of belief already. You know, nothing phases the squad. You know that the way the team played against England, for example, nothing phased them, and we nearly got a result, so I think we're just looking to build on that in this, tomorrow.
What is it that keeps the confidence and the belief so high in the squad? Is there something that can be picked on?
I think I've obviously been in for 2 camps, but I think obviously that belief shows in the training pitch and the meetings that we have. I think it's also improved over the last few years. There's just a confidence around the team that they can take on any opponent.
Amy Gallagher there, she is having a terrific season at Celtic, isn't she? Would you expect maybe to see her come on in the second half later on, maybe?
Yeah, well, she's featured, hasn't she? I think Pedro has certainly been impressed by her, and as you mentioned, she's having a really good season. She'll be filled with confidence, and at some point, I think with the energy levels that the players have exerted, even in that first half, you're going to need to freshen things up, certainly middle to front, so she certainly could be a player that we see, no doubt. Yeah,
she certainly could be. As I say, the second half to come between Netherlands and Scotland. Let's just bring you up to date with what's happening elsewhere in this group. Of course, England are at home against Belgium, and they are a goal up against the Belgian side. Lauren Hemp with the goal there early on as well after 13 minutes. We'll keep you updated as to what happens in that one when we get to full time there too. And there's plenty more for you coming across the BBC.
Are you sure it isn't time to get out of this place?
Actually, I'm pretty settled here. You really don't know when you're not wanted, you do.
Andrew's a predator.
I could make your life very difficult. Why do you think he's not dead already?
River City. New episodes Mondays on BBC iPlayer.
It lives across the leagues and throughout the land.
What a great league the Championship is. League One football in particular. It's going to be competitive.
From local sides to our national teams.
Oh, what a goal! Scotland have done it!
We're hopeful that we'll get another good game here on BBC Alba.
Oh, it's brilliant!
Not a lot of these guys have played on TV before.
She makes it look all so easy.
Don't miss a moment of the action.
Live football. It lives here.
Magnificent!
And as if that's not enough, there's plenty more for you as well. Sports Sound tomorrow kicks off at 2 o'clock. I'm sure Leanne is involved in that on BBC Sounds and Radio Scotland. Sports Scene Premiership highlights on Saturday and Sunday, 7:30 and 7:15 on BBC Scotland. The Scottish Cup is back. Musselburgh Athletic against Clyde is our live game on Monday from 7:30 on BBC Scotland. We're back with more Nations League action. Scotland against the Netherlands again, this time at Hampden. 7:30, that one on BBC Alba for you on Tuesday. And Behind the Goals, again with Leanne, she gets around this girl, Wednesday from midday on BBC Sounds. That podcast will be available after that Nations League game. You do get around.
Thanks
Come
very
on,
much,
spoon
Jane.
up. I meant it in a nice way. I meant it in a nice way.
I'm feeling like the female James McFadden sitting here.
You've got more hair. Right, what are we expecting from this second half then?
Well, you're hoping for a response. Look, everything that we spoke about, you want Scotland to be more positive. Can you get a goal early on in the second half? Can you get yourself back in the game? That will come from the higher press, being more aggressive, getting your attacking players in the game. Can you get set pieces in the final third? And we might see a couple of changes from the 60-minute mark onwards. But there's got to be a belief. You're up against a top side. You've got nothing to lose. Of course, you don't want it to become a disappointing result where you lose 3, 4, 5, which the Netherlands have got that in their locker. But I would hope to see a response.
Yeah, and just briefly from you, Jen, in terms of the attack and the threat that the Dutch show, nullifying that will be the key message, will it?
Yeah, I think they've given the Dutch side probably too much time and space in that final third. So for me, it's about stopping those balls into the box and clearing your lines better and just making those distances much shorter between each other.
Well, let's get back to the second half and the players are coming out onto the pitch. Let's cross over back to our commentary team of Julie Fleeting and Thomas Duncan.
Thanks, Jane. Yeah, I think it's safe to say if Scotland were to turn this around to win, it would be one of the greatest games in the national side's history, given the players they've got missing, the players the Dutch have in their ranks, and also the scoreline in that first half, which, despite a good flurry in between the goals, was ultimately disappointing. And there's a couple of changes. Lisa Evans is about to win her 100th cap for Scotland. Got a wee tap on the back from Vivian Miedema there. And on she comes, the 16th Scottish female to reach 100 caps. A proud moment for her, but she'll be focused on the job, which is to try and help her team back in it. Fiona Brown is also on, so Pedro Martinez Losa looking for an impact. Claire Emsley, one of the players to make way. That feels maybe a bit harsh on Claire Emsley, Julia. I don't know, she had a couple of bright moments, but Pedro's obviously seen something.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it wasn't a substitution I was expecting. Fiona Brown got lots of experience, and as the girls said at half-time, we do need more aggression, more power. She does offer that in a wide area, but certainly for me, Claire Emsley had plenty of positives in that first half.
Here's Rogers, which is out to Berenstain. Well, the Dutch starting lineup for a ball was kicked this evening, 961 caps. Scotland just the 421. So it tells you that vast gulf and experience that's out there as well. Maybe Lisa Evans Fiona Brown will maybe help with that a little. But Scotland with a mountain to climb. And the Dutch, of course, as things stand, with England also winning, will be top of the group if things stay like this. Level on points with England, but ahead on head-to-head record, having got the better of Serena Wiegman's side last time out. Scotland will stay bottom, and that was risky. Horsey cleans up. Docherty. Rogers. Howards signals for McLaughlin to come in field. It's good play from McLaughlin. Thomas dropping deep. Scotland ultimately forced all the way back to their goalkeeper. There's Berenstain. Dykstra. Rachel Corsi battling, then Fiona Brown leathers it off Hansen.
Really important for subs to come in and try and get a feel for the game as early as possible. It's never easy to come off the bench and get to grips with the pace of the game. Fiona Brown and Lisa Evans will be looking to do just that as quickly as possible.
That's loose, and then Grimshaw went in and brings down Martins. It's just these little mistakes from Scotland on the ball that inviting pressure, Julie.
Yeah, it's just slack pass, poor touch. Something that the top sides don't do very often.
I mentioned it earlier, this Nations League reformatted the whole qualification for major tournaments in women's football, UEFA, so this plays a significant part in what games Scotland will play next year when they look to go through European Championship qualifying. If they can stay in League A, it would be huge in terms of potential path to the Euros. Here's Janssen, crosses in, Grimshaw gets something on it, Howard gets it away, here's Brown. It's clever from Brown, but then again, the Dutch just swarm round the ball and get it back. Spitzer off to Roord. It's a rare loose pass from an orange jersey. Hansen crowded out again.
The space is out wide. The space, we keep driving. Fiona Brown as well initially does extremely well, but then she's coming into that central area where it's crowded. The space is out wide. It's in behind the three at the back. I don't know why we keep taking it into that area.
Hansen puts pressure on, and that's a good tackle. And the Dutch get slightly fortunate with that one. You've mentioned it, Julie, they are slightly vulnerable if you can put the right pressure on. Scotland 2 or 3 times have found that, just not often enough.
Yeah, as good as they are going forward, I think there are chances in this side. There are mistakes, as I said, in the first half. No one likes to be pressed in an aggressive manner. So if Scotland can do that, if they can sort it out to make sure that we do so as a team and put pressure on that back line, then we will get chances. It's just being brave in order to do so. It's been committed.
Look at the Dutch pressing. Brooks goes to close down McLaughlin, and it just means that the home side get it back comfortably. It's better pressure from Scotland, but again, it's just touch from Thomas. She had a little shake of the head. She's almost been a spectator. Scotland striker, as we mentioned, she's back in form. Hat-trick at the weekend for Tottenham against Aston Villa. Not quite at the service she would hope for, though. Good tackle from Grimshaw.
She'll have bags of confidence, as you say. Started the season extremely well. It would be nice just to give her that opportunity, something that she can go and attack, or a cross into the box that she can show her composure. We haven't given her any opportunities so far in this game.
Worth looking at the goals on the BBC Sport website as well, if you can, from Martha Thomas' hat-trick. There's all 3 of them. Really good finishes, one brilliant lob as well. There she is. Ploughing a lone furrow up there. Van Domselaar. There was the goalkeeper chipped by Thomas. The weekend. She's had a fairly quiet night. Berenstein's made a run, and it's going to fall kindly for her. Here's Berenstein. Oh, it's wonderful. A deft finish. And it's good night for Scotland now.
It's criminal defending. You should never be beaten by that one long pass right through the heart of your defence. I mean, a great run. They've got pace, but it's just a straight pass. Sophie Howard gets sucked in. Rachel Corsie can't get across. And you have to say it's a brilliant finish. Lee Gibson's came out. She's got absolutely no chance, just composure. Just right into the corner, but that for me, defensively, it's a mistake. When the centre-backs get the ball, you should always have that cover. And Rachel Corsie just can't get across. One ball right through the heart of your defence should never beat a team.
Is that just miscommunication, Julie? Because one dropped and one went up and played Lynette Berenstein on side.
I think as a back line, as a back four, they're not connected together at all. Yes, you can say it's clever movement to take Sophie Howard in there, but the minute Sophie Howard steps into that kind of deeper midfield role, you then must have Nicola Docherty, Rachel McLaughlin squeezing in and then forming a back three. We didn't have either of those things. And Rachel Corsie just couldn't get across. She doesn't have the pace to get across.
And Hansen was a promising opportunity, but doesn't beat the first player. Here come the Netherlands. Van de Donk, who started the scoring in the first half. Brooks, who added the second. So comfortable on the ball, lovely flick. Here's Van de Donk driving into the box. Grimshaw, who's run herself into the ground, makes the block.
They're just playing with so much confidence now. You can see they're so composed on the ball, they're trying things. As soon as they possibly can, they drive and try and get into the box and create something. No wonder they're playing with confidence, been 3 goals up. Still lots of time to play.
Corner comes in. Good header from Thomas. And the Donk's delivery isn't the best, but breaks back for the Netherlands. Berenstein, Martins, full of vigour at the moment, the home side.
We must stay switched on. We must have a bit of pride in the way we're defending. Sometimes it's just that lapse in concentration.
Spitz's corner. Brooks takes her eye off it. Fortunately for Scotland, here's Grimshaw. Chips it up. Brown loses out. And Docherty does well to step in. Stabs it into the path of Brown, but again, it's easy to say, Julie, but you do feel Scotland are currently in that midfield area, missing the likes of Weir, Cuthbert, Kerr.
Listen, how could you not miss those players?
Exactly.
Those players have so much experience, both at club and for their country. No country could do without that, least of all Scotland. We don't have the same amount of players to select from as the bigger nations, but to lose the quality of Caroline Weir, Erin Cuthbert, Sam Kerr, it's really difficult to replace. And no disrespect to the players who have come in. That's why you have a squad, so that you can try and cope with injuries. But certainly it's a massive blow when it happens to so many of your big names all at the one time.
Yeah, and they're not going to have Caroline Weir for this entire campaign with that ACL injury, which unfortunately we see all too often in the women's game. There's a player who's just come back from an ACL injury on the end there, Vivian Miedema. From a Scotland point of view, you hope we don't see her later. Here's Brooks, who is just sensational with the ball at her feet. So natural.
So difficult to defend. When you've got a player who wants to run at you, get into the box, it's so difficult as a defender then to make sure you're not giving away a foul, at the same time to still be committed to the challenge.
Scotland with another corner to defend, and the Dutch have packed the 6-yard box. into the near post. It's not the best delivery. It's going to be another corner though. Scotland's under the pump. It's right on top of Gibson, who takes it comfortably. Looks for options to launch a counter. Here's Howard. Rogers. Scotland are going to be staying bottom of the section as it stands. Here's McLaughlin for Evans. Hansen digs out a cross, but Domsalar, well, she put that behind for a corner. She claims she hasn't, but I think the officials have perhaps signalled for one. Yeah, she doesn't want to give the ball up.
She looked like she was going to keep it.
This will tell us whether they got that one right or maybe not.
She kind of pulls it back in as if she knows at that moment.
Points
but
for looking
shows
completely unflappable in the process.
It shows you that's twice. Twice it seems comfortable in her possession and twice she's dropped it.
Can Scotland get a goal back? Evans corner. Thomas gets up with a header. It's back to McLaughlin. It was never heading for the target, unfortunately.
I'm not sure if she was just trying to clip it back in, but as the Dutch stepped out, it meant it was always going to run through.
Yeah, and worth, for those of you who don't know, if Scotland do finish bottom, they'll be relegated into League B. If they finish third, they'll have a playoff with one of the runners-up in one of the League B groups to try and stay in League A. And realistically, Scotland are looking at third place as their best hope at the moment, and that means every point is precious, and they especially need to beat, well, they have to beat Belgium in December when the final fixtures come around if they're to do that. Here's Van de Donk.
Belgium getting that result against the Netherlands was massive for them. Yeah. Absolutely massive.
Absolutely. No one saw that coming. And if you looked at the match stats, I don't know how they did it, but they did do it. That's given away, and here's Thomas. Hansen collects. Lovely feet from Hansen, slides in, it's still alive. Grimshaw, McLaughlin asks for it, gets it. Dummies. McLaughlin takes the shot with the left foot, but she never looked convinced that it was the right option.
For me, it's the right option. Sorry. All day, it's just the power that she can't quite generate enough of it on her left foot, her weaker foot. Kirsty Hansen does great there, and as it drops, Rachel McLaughlin just in the end couldn't quite get enough on that to trouble the goalkeeper at all.
Fiona Brown's left one on. Jackie Grunin there. Another one who, the Euros winner, World Cup finalist. 105 caps.
They've got a brilliant blend of experience and youth in their side.
Yeah, I mean, the core of the team that won the Euros and got to the World Cup final in 2019 is still very much there, but with the likes of Brooks and, as we've seen, and Roord, who's fantastic, and others have got quite a young bench, so
yeah, I mean, fantastic to bring those young players in when you still have the experience there to nurse them through games.
And a few have retired as well after the World Cup, like Van der Gracht, and just, as they do in men's football as well, really, just keep producing footballers. Here is Brooks. Wonderful from Roord. Great balance. Grunin. Roord lets it run across her. Puts it across. Howard with a block. McLaughlin desperately nudges it further from the goal. Grunin again. Martins, and that's well read by Grimshaw. And she's going to try and play on Thomas, but Dykstra read that. Hansen again intercepts. She's had a lot of joy, a lot to do here though. And poor execution. You can't fault Scotland's effort. They've, especially the likes of Hansen and Grimshaw, they've run themselves ragged, but I think they're maybe struggling a bit to...
Yeah, I think in that instant, we didn't have to do an awful lot to get the ball back. They made a mistake, they passed it to Hansen. Just think if we had that aggressive press, if we had that belief in terms of going and getting the ball back, working together, then I'm quite sure we would get more of those opportunities. And they end up, Kirsty Hansen tries to play it into the channel for Martha Thomas, and they weren't quite on the same page.
Martins with space. Looks for Berenstain. It's intercepted by Corsie. Here's Hansen, Evans. And the Dutch just get the pressure on incessantly.
It's that mentality of the minute you lose the ball, you win it back as quick as you can, and they're doing that a lot better than Scotland.
Scotland under pressure again. Take the throw in. Yeah, it was one of the big things Pedro Martinez-Losa came in. He wanted to try and build from the back, but this is where it's tested against teams who press you well. Can you get yourself out of trouble? And Scotland have really struggled, albeit, as we've mentioned a couple of times, they are missing some of our best players, no question about that.
Yeah, it's all very well wanting to build out from the back. Everyone wants to watch and play attacking, entertaining football, but you also want to make sure you don't give any opportunities to the opposition, and if at times you need to put your foot through it, then they have to be able to do that. They have to have free rein to know that if we need to go long, we'll go long.
Berenstain collects, holds off the challenge, Gibson saves. And a performance Lynette Berenstain has put in. Look for a second goal there.
Yeah, tireless running. She knows she can get success in behind. Sophie Howard doesn't quite make the challenge, but luckily for her, her goalkeeper gets her out of trouble.
It's a couple of big saves from Lee Gibson to keep the score at 3. Dykstra's peeled away, unmarked. Comes back in. Thomas's header. Again, it's Hansen leading the chase.
You can see Grimshaw up there with her. She's running tirelessly. She's seen the opportunity then to get up and support Kirsty Hansen. She'll have covered a few kilometres tonight, I'm sure.
And the GPS in overdrive. Unfortunately, from a Scotland point of view, it's been without much success. The Dutch have been just too good for the most part. Groenen. Van de Donk. Scotland with that. They'll have an opportunity to break forward there, but to no avail. Return game on Tuesday at Hampden. Scotland are going to have to improve an awful lot if they're going to take a precious point. Never mind victory as the Dutch go to their bench. Victoria Belova and Edurola.
Still no Miedema.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, She only made her comeback off the bench for Arsenal against Bristol City at the weekend. I don't think Arsenal will be too keen to have her playing a lot of minutes over this break, but the fact she's back in the squad again, I mean, to have a player like that even just in the squad not playing gives everyone a huge lift.
It does, yeah, and it also helps those younger players as well in and around the camp. But you look at the fans that are in the stadium tonight, I'm sure she would get a very warm welcome if she does step over that white line.
Scotland free kick. Fiona Brown takes, it's low. Hansen can't bring it under control. Rhodes, such an elegant player, has chipped that away, but Scotland think they had the match under pressure, and they've actually got the free kick. Pavlova just on, and there she is.
She's only just out warming up, and the crowd are getting excited.
There you go. They've got the phones out for their superstar, all-time leading scorer. Here's a Scotland free kick. Howard's in there. Well, we know what she can do. Gets into good areas. This time it doesn't quite come off.
It's a brilliant delivery.
Does that come off the arm there? Dykstra, interesting.
She attacks it well, really aggressive. We were looking for her to do that in the first half when we were putting the corners into the box. She does so there after another brilliant delivery.
VAR in these games, incidentally, if you're wondering at home. Corner comes in. Not the most convincing header away, but Berenstein has it nonetheless. And she'll run all day. Good tackle from McLaughlin. I think the host broadcasters are keen for Viv Miedema to come on, don't you?
Because when you've got such a big name who's been out for so long, I think everyone in that stadium, apart from if you're Scottish, is desperate to see her. Of course, you have to be careful when you've been out for this long that you manage the player. They'll maybe be looking more to the game at Hampden for her to have more of an impact there when she's had a few more training sessions under her belt.
Yeah, special player, one of the best ever in the women's game. Live Scottish Cup action on Monday nights. Musselburgh Athletic taking on Clyde of the SPFL, 7:30 right here on BBC Scotland. And next week, Nations League, Scotland, Netherlands, Hampden, 7:30, BBC Alapa. Chipped in, here's Berenstein with a header, it's 4. Scotland look pleadingly for a flag, it's not coming. Lynette Berenstein is running riot up top for the Netherlands.
She deserves it. She just peels off the shoulder of Rachel Corsie, and the ball just in behind. You can see she's constantly on the shoulder. She's looking for the ball in behind. When she doesn't get it, she picks up a new position, and you can see it's Rachel Corsie that's marking her. And as the ball goes back in, she's just fast off the shoulder, and a brilliant header, just down and into the corner. So difficult for a goalkeeper when you head the ball down and it just comes off the surface. And she deserves that goal. She's been causing a lot of problems, particularly in this second half.
And here comes Thomas, looking to get one back, still going. Spitzer reads the cross expertly. Oh, it's 6 and 5 games for club and country for Lynette Berenstein. 4 for Juve. Serie A. Classy player. And this has been a brutal lesson for a Callow Scotland side in Nijmegen. They've still got 20 minutes to go. Hansen. It's nice. Brown. Rodgers. Scotland needs some positives to take back to Hampden for the return game on Tuesday night. Every time they even look like putting a move together, the Dutch force them back. Now here's Van de Donk. Berenstain, what a touch that is. Martins. Pelova. McLaughlin can't get there. It's cut in again. Berensstain's on the hunt for a hat-trick, but it was behind her.
Fiona Brown just tucks in, does her defensive duties. It's a long 17 or so minutes now for the Scotland team to be 4 down against a team who are so full of confidence, particularly at this stage in the game.
Dijkstra. Pelova fancies another go at McLaughlin. Twisting and turning. Fires it to the back post. Dijkstra win the race. Berenstain sticks a stray leg out. It's beyond her. But the hosts will build it all again. Spits it. Dorsey gets the head on it. It's a tired clearance, but it's well collected by Rodgers. Thomas will chase. She's kept that in. Spits it. Use all her experience there, and the Dutch go to the bench again.
They'll be looking at this as an opportunity to rest players. They've got the goals that they need in this game. Gives them an opportunity to bring players off in preparation for the game on Tuesday.
Merel van Dongen, a vastly experienced player, is about to come on. Kirsten Kasperai makes way. Then Wilms, another player on. Merel van Dongen, Atletico Madrid, 62 caps. And Wilms, slightly less experienced, but the Dutch have this game in the bag. They did long ago. It's just a question of how many. Incidentally, England still just the 1 goal up against Belgium. Here comes Scotland's pass of aids, Evans. And here they come. The waves keep going. Here's Berenstain. Looks for the hat-trick. Flicks it on. Pelova pulls it across. No one in orange waiting. She's enjoyed herself since coming off the bench. Victoria Pelova. Julie, you're not passing that, are you? On a hat-trick in the box.
I think she might have been hoping that she was going to then get the return pass, which it did look like that's what was attempted, but well done to Scotland players for getting themselves back in. Plenty of Scotland players in the box. But to answer your question, no, I'm not passing that.
He did have a decent goal scoring record, to be fair.
Played with decent players.
Very modest.
That's what happens when you play alongside good players. Make your job as a striker easy. And I mean, we talked about Martha Thomas and not getting opportunities. Yes, you need to make the right runs as a striker and get yourself into good positions, but you also rely very heavily on the players behind you. And tonight she's had very little to work off.
lonely shift for Martha Thomas, I think it's fair to say, but here it's better from Scotland. Grimshaw, Hansen.
That's an incredible touch from Kirsty Hansen.
It's made its way back to Grimshaw, and then Thomas takes a swipe at it. He's the flag up for offside, I think it is. Wouldn't have counted anyway.
That might have been her opportunity. We were just talking about them not creating chances. It comes from Kirsty Hansen's brilliant touch, and then she continues into the box, and you can see here as it drops, she makes no contact at all with the ball. I think that tells you everything you need to know about the night for Scotland.
Again, it's picked off by Hansen. She's going to go for a goal, but that's wild. You can't blame her for trying. Scored against England, cracked one off the bar in that game at the Stadium of Light as well. And you may as well go for it. 4-0 down.
She had a decent effort from a similar area in the first half.
Scotland going to ring the changes. Jamie Lee Napier, Ellen Davidson, Jenna Clark, all stripped and ready. And that's another wild one from Docherty, and then Pinkston uses her body so well, but Rogers bails Scotland out. We're even being treated to shots of Miedema getting her foot taped up now.
I'm not sure the physio would have been happy with the angle.
Cameraman's bored. It does tell you how big a superstar she is, though, in the Netherlands.
Every time she's moving in that bench, we're getting a snapshot of it.
Camera following her movements. Gibson, under a bit of pressure, gets it away to McLaughlin. Hansen. Here comes the triple sub for Scotland. And Martha Thomas, not one of our most memorable Scotland caps, I'm sure. Tough night, as it has been for everyone. Glasgow City's Lauren Davidson is on. Here's Jamie Lee Napier on. Rachel McLaughlin, who, well, we are going to see Miedema by the look of it. Unless he's just teasing everyone by taking the trackie off and then what this substitution seems to have taken an age. I'm not sure why he's not allowed them to just all on at once, but here's Vivian Miedema. This will be our 116th cap, and what a huge moment it is for our 310 days out after rupturing our anterior cruciate ligament. Come back for Arsenal at the weekend off the bench, and now back for our country in a moment. Here's Evans. Space for a cross. Delivers. Word. There's composure. Corsi. Grimshaw. Hansen. There's Docherty. Pacing the cross, but too close to the goalkeeper.
You would have liked someone to be making that run, bursting a gut to get to the front post. Can you get across the goalkeeper?
Spitzer, the captain, 225 caps. What a career. And she strolled it at the back this evening, playing midfield as well. And here is the moment. Every single Dutch player, or fan I should say, in the stadium has been waiting for. Are going to get their moment. A smile from Vivianne Miedema. She makes her return in Dutch colours. 116th cap, just in 95 goals.
She's had a torturous time. I'm delighted to see her back on the pitch. Although I would prefer it if it wasn't against Scotland.
Yeah, and Jenna Clark, who's just on as well, has got the joy of marking her as she will in the WSL this season. Jenna Clark obviously down at Liverpool now. Hansen, who has just never stopped working and trying to make things happen, but it's been oh so difficult, and here she is. Miedema is it off, Roord. Netherlands in no hurry. They're going to be top of the section come full time. Scotland unmoved at the foot of A1, and with an almighty fight on their hands, you have to say, if they're going to survive in the top tier of the Nations League. You'll certainly hope Erin Cuthbert is fit to play a part on Tuesday night when these sides meet again at Hampden. There's Davidson given away, and here's Miedema. Long stride away from Davidson. Van Dongen. Switzer. Stein. Cross comes in. Easy enough for Lee Gibson to collect that one.
I think every second shot's going to be going to Miedema.
Yeah.
Going to see plenty of her in the remaining 6 or so minutes.
Davidson helps it forward. Hansen, she's not stopped all night, and that is a foul, says the referee. Be a touch harsh, that one.
It's unfortunate she does so well, even at this point in the game, still to be chasing everything down, putting pressure on the back line.
Clark, that's good pace from the Scotland defender, and then Gibson came out, helps it out.
She's a player who's been patient, Jenna Clark. She had a great season last season at City, obviously moving down south, but in a Scotland jersey she's had to be patient and bide her time.
And she was left out in the last squad. Back in, here's Miedema. Roord is going to take it on, clatters off Clark. Flicked on. Gibson. It's both hands to it, and it's a very much subdued ending to this match. The Dutch more or less happy with their lot. Scotland drained after a long 86 minutes of soaking up pressure for the most part. I did say, Julie, you can't keep the ball, you're in for a long night.
Yeah, yes, I think we knew going into this game that there would be long spells where we would be out of possession, but that's what makes it so important when you do win the ball back, that you keep it and you make the opposition work, you make them run. But that's easier said than done when you're playing against their side who are so strong.
Ehrenstein on a hat-trick. 2 really good goals, a wonderful little lob, another fantastic header. As I said earlier, the Dutch want to win this Nations League. They're a side that are pretty much used to being in the latter stages of major competitions. disappointed to out the quarter-finals, the last two major tournaments, albeit we were undone by the winner Spain in the summer there in Australia and New Zealand at the World Cup. Fantastic Spain side. And obviously put 8 past Scotland in qualifying. De Donk, Berenstein. It's too far in front of her.
Lee Gibson's walk to get the ball just tells you absolutely everything you need to know.
Blow the whistle.
She's in no rush. We want to hear that final whistle.
Yeah, it's difficult because you've got to just play the fixtures as they come, but if Scotland were, you know, what they would have wanted was to play England and the Netherlands first up and get a double header against Belgium to try and build some momentum in the middle of the campaign. To get either England or the Dutch back to back, it's brutal.
It is. You're absolutely right.
But you've got to play it as it comes, and
even more brutal when you go down 4 in the first game.
Yeah, and you've lost a lot of key players as well. Can they end with a little flourish, a little positive, something to cling on to as they go to Hampden on Tuesday night? One thing's for sure, that the Dutch will enjoy that big Hampden pitch.
Oh, I don't even want to think about it at this stage. The pace in the wide area,
yeah.
The long ball. Oh, I think we've got our work cut out for us.
Can Scotland end on a positive? Corner comes in, Howard goes up, but then falls over. It's struck by Doherty. Never on target, which we did score that brilliant goal against Australia back in April, but that one nowhere near. Who's that?
I was wondering what she was up to. Haven't seen her for at least 30 seconds.
Good play by Evans. On to Corsie. Little 40 forward from the Scotland captain, but it's gone away again. And Clark goes back, headed straight to Road. A wonderful little touch with the outside of the boot. Enjoyed watching her. Pass through the lines, out wide. Belova into 3 minutes of added time. Tired Scotland legs plodding across the turf in Nijmegen, desperate to keep the Netherlands out. Lovely pass around the corner. Here's Miedema, reverses it back. Here's Martins across the face. Berenstein denied a hat-trick. The danger's not done. Nice idea. Pass overhit. Scotland have the ball and just get rid of it as Brown helps it on. Hansen again, a willing chaser. I think Lynette Berenstein thought she had a hat-trick there.
I think we all did. But thanks to Lee Alexander, or Lee Gibson, sorry, I'm using her maiden name too often.
Clark heads clear. Gets missed by Van de Donk. Feels like a lifetime ago that she opened the scoring. The 12th minute. Free kick. Hansen does get the free kick.
They're hoping she's just tired. She's too important a player. And another game coming up. Here's that opportunity. I mean, it's a great ball just across the face of the goal, and Lee Gibson does so well.
Well, can Scotland have the final say here? It's not looked likely, apart from that little spell after the first Netherlands goal. Even then, Van Domselaars had to make one good save and that was from long range. So Corsi. And there's a full-time whistle. A brutal, bruising night in Nijmegen for Scotland in the Nations League. The Netherlands showing their class, and they didn't even really need Vivianne Miedema, who made her comeback after nearly a year out from the bench. The job was done by the time she entered the field. Some wonderful goals. Van de Donk with the first, Bruce with the second before the break, and then Beresteyn a lovely lob and a great header for two after the break. She could have had a hat-trick, but for good goalkeeping at the end by Lee Gibson. Scotland's wait for that first Nations League win goes on, and they have the unenviable task of trying to do better against the Dutch at Hampden on Tuesday night, because in all honesty they've been taught a lesson, admittedly shorn of key players, and it's finished in Nijmegen. Netherlands 4, Scotland 0.
Yeah, that was a really sore night from a Scotland point of view. What will they take from that, Leanne?
They'll be disappointed. It'll be a really tough one. The fact that it's, you know, the two games in quick succession, it's going to be tough to overcome, but that's the reality of elite football. They'll need to dust themselves down, they'll need to go again, they'll need to take the positives from the game. We picked a few out at half-time, we spoke about that. I don't think there was enough in the second half in terms of substance with that. But that's up to the manager, and you've got top players in the side, so they'll need to pull it together. Yeah,
how do they go about picking themselves up? What will they do between now and Tuesday night to try and rectify some of the things that they got wrong this evening?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think they'll all be quite happy that they're playing them again in the next few days. I think that's what you want. I think it's easy to come back from a loss. You know what I mean? There'll be so much to work on from that game, whether it was the press or the build-up, areas that they didn't try and gain momentum, areas that they completely lost it. So yeah, I think there's so much to work into going into Tuesday's game.
He made a lot of changes, didn't he? Did the Scotland manager? What do you think his thinking was there? Was it to have a look at other players to see how they play in that pressurised situation, do you think, against good teams?
I'm unsure, because I don't think it was the type of game for that, to really experiment, especially with the fact that there were so many players missing. I can only assume, and it'll be interesting to hear it, you know, post-match. Hopefully Amy can get some answers from him in terms of the half-time changes. What was the reasoning behind that? Was it an injury? Was it a tactical change? As the game's gone on, you've had so much variation to the team anyway, that you've finished the game though with players playing in different positions, i.e. Rachel Corsi's in the middle of the pitch, Lisa Evans is in a number 10 position, something that we don't really see. And I'm not sure it was an opportunity for trial and error tonight. He could freshen things up come Tuesday and look to try and experiment, maybe a slight tweak to the system or deploy players in different areas. But it was a sore one.
Yeah, I think Leanne's right. It was a strange one. There was so many positives in the first half that the two changes kind of caught us both off guard. And he went for experience in the second half. He tried to change a lot. But I think if those players were allowed a bit more time to grow into the game, it was still only first half had done, and so much can change, so much can be said at half-time, but he didn't necessarily give the players the chance for that in the second half.
Yeah, well, hopefully we will get some reaction. We'll hear from the manager and some of the players as well. It's going to be really interesting to see what their take is from that game. And I think from the players' point of view, it's going to be interesting to see how they do glean the positives and they do take that into the next game. Because I imagine right now it's going to be really hard to see the positives, isn't it?
It will be. Yeah, they'll be desperate to get home, that's for sure. They'll be desperate to rest and recover. They've put an awful lot into the game. Yes, you've made changes, but you've still exerted an awful lot of energy. But they'll dust it down. I think Pedro Martinez-Losa likes analysis as well. I think he's quite thorough in terms of debriefing the game, so there'll be opportunity for that. albeit not an awful lot of time. You want to take the positives, you want to build on it, you want to bounce back and be better on Tuesday. So you've got to do that quickly and put it behind you, because ultimately the game's gone. You can't do anything about it, you can't influence it. And as I say, they're top players in that Scotland dressing room as well, so they're used to dealing with adversity.
Jen, you'll know from working under Pedro Martinez Losa, you'll be big on analysis. Will it be more about analysis rather than on the training park when they get back?
Yeah, and Pedro doesn't like losing, you know, and none of them do. So, and based on the performances they've had recently, I think they'll be even more disappointed with that. I think they would have expected to get a bit more out of the game than a 4-0. Based on previous results, previous performances, they will be disappointed. But he is massive on analysis. He'll be looking at every inch of that game, what went right, what went wrong. And for me, I've said before that the press already, for me, was a big marker of how to gain momentum into the game, and that's something that Scotland didn't get quite right tonight, and something they'll look to rectify massively over the next few days.
Well, let's have a look at some of the goals. Sorry to put you through this again, but obviously 2 goals in the second half. This was the opening goal, and it came early enough, and we talked about it at half-time, didn't we? Scotland probably should have done more to try and prevent that ball from coming in the first place.
Yeah, I think the one thing you can't is allow someone to run into the box from that kind of area. You have to keep them outside of the box. And with those amount of defenders, you know, they're not outnumbered. It's just own your area, own your space, dominate it, whether you're centre-back or a goalkeeper. You can't allow players to gain that front. Coming off the back shoulder, I understand it's difficult, but you have to check your shoulder. You have to be looking left at right, have to be communicating across the lines, and that's something they didn't quite do in that first goal.
And if you don't look to go and clear the area, we spoke about this at half-time in terms of Sophie Howard's position, you've got to get touch tight to Van de Donk. You cannot leave her on her own with yards of space inside the box, because she's such a good player. She finds those pockets of space. Yeah. She's ruthless, she's instinctive, she gets across the front, she gets a great touch for a striker and attacking player. It's a great finish. But defensively, you've got to make your mind up. You need to do one of 2 things. As I say, either defend the front area or pick up the player.
Scotland showed a bit of resolve. They had a good response, didn't they? But then, unfortunately, the sucker punch, that they go 2-0 down. And again, it's more kind of costly errors and not dealing with the ball, isn't it?
Yeah, they were responsive, much more aggressive. This is what we wanted. We wanted more blue jerseys in the opposition half, looking to put the Dutch players under more pressure in terms of their build. We had highlighted the fact that we felt they were making more errors, and Julie touched on that in commentary as well. But they're good players, and again, when you switch off and you give them time and space, and we had mentioned as well the pace, middle to front as well, they're deadly. They're so good. And again, Scotland look here like they've got good numbers behind the ball, but it's just not picking up key players. Again, inside the box, players unmarked, you think you're safe, and at times, as a player, it's really hard to explain why you do it, but you drop deeper and deeper because you think it's going to make things safer and more secure. And actually, when you look at the depth of the team on the 6-yard line there, you drop. Sophie Howard doesn't get a good contact on it. Rachel McLaughlin, she's not close enough to Brooks, and she can't affect the ball, and before you know it, it's in the back of the net.
Yeah, it looked like that the Scotland players were kind of ball watching a little bit there. Is that down to the quality and the quickness of play from the Dutch, or is it just because they just couldn't cope with it?
Yeah, look, it's a bit of both. I think the Dutch team play with speed, they play with a directness that can catch you very much so off guard, but in that clip, if you're trying to press a team, you have to be set up, especially that high up the pitch. And it just felt like every pass that was made, a Scotland player was 2 or 3 metres behind the play. You have to get set as a team, especially if you're pressing that high up the pitch. And that will be probably the most disappointing goal, that it comes from inside the Dutch box, basically, and ends up in our goal.
I think we're going to get some reaction now. Rachel Corsie, the Scotland captain, is talking to our reporter, Amy Canavan.
Rachel, can you try and sum up your emotions after that one?
It's difficult. I think we knew we were coming here to face a good side, but I just felt we had to try and disrupt the momentum a little more than we did, and I think that's what's frustrating, because you expect the pressure in possession and it can be hard to get that rhythm, but I think the one thing we always do is we're normally at it, you know, in terms of defensively, and I just felt we gave them too much space, and they got their rhythm. The early goals, always tough to come back from, but I thought we sort of settled for a little while, and then we tried the second half to come out and get our way back into it, but we just fell short in too many areas today, and I think that's just the honesty of what happened, and you know, we now have an opportunity to try our best to rectify that, because we're going to go again on Tuesday.
It's obviously well documented, the players that are missing in the middle of the park. Do you think that it was almost just too big an absence, too big a hurdle to overcome?
I don't think so. I think we have quality there. You know, I think it was just, you know, we gave them too many options when they did have the ball, and you have to try and make it a little more difficult than that. You can't allow them to sort of switch players so easily, and they have really, really good players, and they don't need that much space anyway, but to give them it, I think just lets them, you know, find their comfort zone, and that's what they want to do. And we spoke before the game, we said we wanted to disrupt that, and it just didn't quite come off today, but you know we do have a second opportunity, and I think sometimes that's a good thing in football. There's another game round the corner, and we want to make sure we at least put it right with a performance on Tuesday that can hopefully get more out of the game.
Is the sting in the heart because of the positive performances against the top sides that Scotland have recently strung together?
I think, you know, when you look at the group, both England and Netherlands have been two of the best sides in Europe for the last 5-6 years. So you have to respect the opponent, and sometimes these results happen. I think we have it in us to compete, like I say, much better than we showed today. So it's disappointing, but we have to just pick ourselves up, and we'll do that. And we will prepare well in the next few days, recover. And Tuesday needs to be a better performance from everybody.
And just finally then, how do the girls pick themselves up over these next few days? Do you let this one sting, or do you just move on as quickly as possible and look forward to Tuesday to rectify it?
I think, you know, unfortunately you have to go and sit in the discomfort of watching it back, and you have to fix the little things. The goals, I think, are something naturally that I want to see back and see how we can defend a little better, because for all their good play, I don't think necessarily, you know, the goals are ones we'll look back on and be really disappointed by. So we'll need to review that. And in terms of picking ourselves up, we're a good group. You know, we look after each other, and that's no different when you win or you lose, and we've done that many, many times. So I don't really worry about that. I know everyone will make sure everyone's in this together.
All the very best, Rachel. Cheers.
Thank you.
You can see, you can hear the frustration, and she said that they weren't good enough, that they came up short in a lot of areas. You'll agree with her?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what you get from Rachel's honesty, I think across the board, we're both sitting nodding our head and agreeing with a lot of the things that she said. And I love the bit about the discomfort to sit and watch through it, which is absolutely what you need to do. But she's right. And the thing is, in every game, every goal is preventable, regardless of the opposition that you're against. So Scotland will look at it, whether it was contacting the ball, players in key areas, distances, as Jen had spoken an awful lot about at half-time. There's moments there that you can rectify, so absolutely there's a lot that you can take between now and Tuesday night that you can change and make better, and that's what the squad will look to do.
Let's get some more reaction from the Scotland cap. Lisa Evans made her 100th Scotland cap this evening. It was a disappointing night for her, though, in the end. She's also been talking to Amy.
Lisa, I know it's a tough one to take tonight, but how proud are you of the girls' performance?
I'm proud in spells. I mean, I thought all in all we'll be disappointed with the performance, but at the end of the day we've got another performance on Tuesday. We need to put it better, we need to make it better. We know ourselves we can do better than what we showed tonight, and I think we need to put it right on Tuesday.
You obviously came on at half-time. What did the manager say? What was he wanting you to inject in that second half?
I think to just be brave, show character, get on the ball. I think we looked timid at times, to say the least. So yeah, I think just to show character, get on the ball and try and be brave.
Just speaking to Rachel there, is the disappointing factor the fact that in recent games Scotland have really looked competitive against some really top sides, and tonight that was lacking?
I think so, yeah, without a doubt. Holland are a top sides. They've not been in the Euro finals, World Cup finals for no reason. I think, to be honest, they gave us a footballing lesson tonight. I think we really need to review the game, do the basics better, quality on the ball, off the ball, be way more aggressive than what we showed tonight. And like I said, we've got the opportunity to put it right on Tuesday.
I know it's a tough one to take, but on a personal level, that is you earned your 100th cap for Scotland. I know how much playing for your country, representing your country means to you. Can you try and sum it up?
I mean, yeah, I'm obviously delighted. I love being part of this group. It's honestly such a special group, players, staff. I feel like we're all in it together, and it's obviously been amazing to be part of all the generations that have come through. And now I'm one of the older players trying to pass on what I know to the younger ones, I feel like. But like I said, obviously disappointed with the result, but happy and delighted and proud to have made 100 appearances for Scotland, no doubt.
Congratulations on that, Lisa.
You can tell she's thoroughly disappointed, though, despite reaching that impressive milestone. They both, Rachel and Lisa there, spoke about the quality of the opposition they've been playing against, the likes of England, the likes of Holland. Is it just as simple as the gap is just too big? They're too good?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think the performances that Scotland have shown previously have shown that they can compete at the top, but the difference is now you have to do it consistently. You can't do it just a few games and then drop off. You have to remain at that level and remain at that top elite level consistently if you want to qualify for major tournaments. We obviously qualified for 2 off the back and haven't appeared at recent ones, and that's the level that Scotland want to be at, and you have to show those performances on a more consistent basis. And I think the best thing about those interviews, though, that I think the old Scotland would talk about the positives and talk about how we can compete and talk about just the positives. Now we're talking about, let's talk about the uncomfortable moments, let's talk about the moments we weren't good enough and work on that. And I think that's the difference now, that the focus is going to what we need to get better at.
Yeah, that is important, isn't it? That's the development that you want to see within the squad. That they want to sit through that video nasty it's going to be, isn't it? But they want to they want to learn from that.
Of course, but you've got to critique your own performances, and I think what you've got in that Scotland dressing room is honest players that want to get better, they want to improve, they want to match the best teams. The reality is tonight, and the players have went round the houses in terms of, even Rachel speaking about the personnel, there's no team in Europe that can afford to lose the quality of players that Scotland have lost and that don't have at their disposal tonight. But then that's where the bigger challenge comes for the depth of the squad. That's up to the manager and the coaching group to make sure that the players that come in are well versed and well equipped to step into the shoes of big players. And that will be the challenge ahead of Tuesday night. They don't have those players available. They've got the squad that they've got. They now need to take the pressure of being those starting players like Lisa Evans and Rachel Corsie have experienced for years on end. You know, the amount of caps that they've got between them. So it'll be a quick turnaround, but there's honesty in the group. You've heard that in both those interviews. I really like it. The fact they've come out, and as Jen says, it's really important that you can accept the fact that you need to do better.
Well, in this group, there was one other match this evening. England were up against Belgium at home at Leicester's City Stadium. Let's find out how that one finished with a full-time update from our reporter, Vicky Sparks.
Yes, England back to winning ways and getting their Nations League campaign back on track, beating Belgium here by 1-0. Lauren Hemp's finish after 13 minutes was the difference, slotting home from close range after Millie Bright's header had cannoned back off the post. England dominated much of the play and had several good chances to extend their lead, notably for Alessia Russo, who got into good positions but couldn't find the finish. And more broadly, finishing is something that England will look to improve on ahead of their trip to Belgium on Tuesday. Their wastefulness could have cost them, because although the Lionesses dominated much of the play and attacked with verve and vigour, Belgium carved out some decent chances themselves. Justine van Havermaet drawing a great save from Mary Earps at 0-0, and Tessa Woolard a constant threat on the counter. England also looked shaky when it came to defending set pieces, but the most important thing, after suffering just their third defeat under Serena Wiegman to the Netherlands last time out, was to get the 3 points. And that's what they did, and deservedly so. They keep pace with the Dutch at the top of the table.
Thanks to Vicky Sparks there, bringing us that report. England against Belgium, that narrow 1-0 win for England. And that's how the table looks after tonight's performances. The Netherlands lead the way on 6 points, a goal difference. England in second place, also on 6 points. Belgium just a couple of points behind on 4 points. Scotland, it's not looking too good, I have to say. They've played 3 games now and they're still on a point. The table doesn't make great reading, does it? And they really needed to try and get something from that this evening. But a sore defeat.
It is, it's a sore one, but when you look at the fixtures there's no time to sulk, there's no time to really dwell on it, other than, as we've mentioned, look at what you can do better. How do you improve? How do you give a better account of yourself in front of, no doubt, a really strong home crowd in support on Tuesday night?
I think we're going to hear from the Scotland head coach now. Yes, we are. Pedro Martina Losa is talking to Amy.
Pedro, how do you assess that one tonight?
Well, a tough, obviously, loss with receiving a lot of goals. This is not what we expected today. But also trying to think in positive that we have to recover quickly and we have a game in a few days. So that's, football doesn't give you much time.
Can you pinpoint what exactly went wrong this season?
Well, the first thing is the opponent is one of the best teams in the world. The second thing is we wanted to compete with the players that we had, but we are missing, obviously, a lot of players that can compete at international level. The third thing is the first 15 minutes were going to be difficult, the same as when in England, and we just received a goal. And a second unfortunate goal from a deflection, when tactically we were very correct in the game, but when you're losing 2-0 already, the opponent with this atmosphere, which we are very jealous to have, then is even making the opponent grow and finding more opportunities. Netherlands doesn't have a world-class team that has 2 world-class teams. When you have Viviane Miedema coming from the bench, Damaris Segurola, Pelova, who plays for Arsenal, so they have two sides, and I think they were better than us in some aspects, but I really value the effort of our team. I think that was never lost. The intention of the team to put all the time, come back into the game, creating some chances, set places. We have a few, and yeah, other days we score a goal so that bring us into the game, but today we didn't.
Is tonight's result perhaps a little setback in that in the last few games, you know, you've spoke very positively and rightly so about the run of competitive performances against the top sides?
Not for me. I think for me, that's part of playing against teams like England, like the Netherlands. For me, I assume total responsibility because I think this team is capable to do it better. But I think today that was that night that the opponent was also better, so I think it's part of the game.
Half-time substitutions, Claire Emsley and Kirsten McLean.
Well, we cut Pedro off in his prime there. Apologies for that. But I think we got the message that they need to be better. How does he ensure that they are better in that quick turnaround, which we've obviously touched upon?
Well, it's interesting because sitting here as a pundit, we can probably talk about the players that are missing. But as I said, he doesn't have those players ahead of Tuesday. So I'm not entirely sure how much confidence he's given to his group in the fact that he's speaking about the players that are missing and how good the side are that he's up against, because it's the same side on Tuesday night and it's the same players he's got to select. So he's going to have a big job in his hands to turn it around and instill that confidence, but it's his job ultimately to make them better.
Do you think he'll make wholesale changes? Or maybe not wholesale changes, but changes for that game on Tuesday?
I'm not sure. Making 2 changes at half-time is always quite a big call. You know, bringing your experienced players, Fiona Brown, Lisa Evans, in off the bench. So if he's going to make a change, it's going to be in that direction. Does he go with more experience? But I feel like he needs to give the youngsters a bit more of an opportunity and a bit longer and a chance. 45 minutes is not a lot of time in football, and it'll be a massive learning curve for them. And look, they'll be desperate to watch it back and learn as much as they can from it. And I've no doubt that they will. But my only thing was, will he go for more experience going to Tuesday? But we'll see.
Yeah, we certainly will see indeed. Scotland, well, they went over to the Netherlands this evening and it was a sore and a disappointing defeat. 4-0 was the final result for them. And guess what? They'll have to do it all again on Tuesday against the exact same team. Will they be after revenge? You would think so. Will they get it? Well, it's going to be a tricky one. From us all, my thanks to Jen and to Jenny as well. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.